talking about Don Giovanni at Holland Park Opera, which opens on Monday of next week. Now, Stephen Barlow, director, some people have set Don Giovanni in quite sort of dark ways, rather gloomy, little light on stage. That's tricky at Holland Park, because you're in a semi-open air auditorium, so getting a complete blackout is difficult.
Actually, it is achievable, because the tent, or the marquee, as we like to call it, does sort of wrap right round, and when we get to about 8:30, 9 o'clock, which is halfway through the opera, then a blackout is almost achievable.
And now the nights are drawing in.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
How's this going to look then? What's the sort of?
It's going to look fantastic. It's a period production. It's not set in the original period, but it's not a modern dress production. It's not a jeans and t-shirt, mobile phone sort of type of production. It's a very elegant looking production, but underneath the surface there's something far more sinister
going on. And you have a relatively small orchestra, Robert, but actually rather authentic, because I think Mozart only had 15 string players when it was premiered in Prague. It was very small.
Yes, and of course the City of London Symphony are expert in this field as well, so we're trying for a period feel with the orchestra sound. Of course it is a slight problem because we don't have the pit, so therefore the balance between singers and orchestra is something that one always has to be attentive about, but I think this will work particularly well in this piece.
Well, let's bring in the Don Giovanni, who's singing in this production, and back after several other performances over the years at Holland Park, Nicholas Garrett. Give us your views on Don Giovanni as a character. We were just talking about earlier on the sort of humanisation of him, how Mozart created the character. Is he someone to like or someone to loathe?
No, I think he's absolutely someone to like. I mean, I haven't done this role for, I think 8 years ago, was the last time I did it, and not to rubbish what I did then. I really don't, echoing what Robert said, I don't really think I got underneath the skin of the character at all. It's very easy to play it. It's just a thug in a way, but certainly working through it with Stephen, discovered so many places where he is likeable and he is sympathetic, and he's just, for me now, he's just an ordinary person who just happens to have a few faults. But
so what are the good things and what are the bad things? Give us two of each.
What are the good things? The good things is that he's totally human, totally likeable. I feel a lot of myself in him, to be honest.
We could delve deeper into that.
No, I think
maybe we won't
right now. Let's just skip over that. We've tried to make him as rounded a human being as possible, rather than some pantomime villain which isn't sympathetic. I think if people are coming expecting to see a morality tale about an evil man going to hell, then that's not going to be the case. Hopefully there'll be no booing at the end.
Now, Laura Mitchell, you're singing Donna Elvira. This is your debut at Holland Park.
It most certainly is.
You're enjoying the experience so far. Have you actually been on stage yet, or is that
yeah,
to come?
We've been on stage for a few days, since Monday, I think, this week. Costumes this week as well, so it's been a huge sort of uplift into the production period. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a great place, and I'm really enjoying the acoustic as well.
What is it like to sing in? I mean, do you get much back, or?
It's interesting. I mean, obviously it changes when the audience is in as well, but
it's easier than you thought. I
absolutely,
found it easier.
Yeah, it carries very well.
You think you're outside, really, but actually it's very well constructed. The sound's not bad at all.
Yeah, and Donna gets lots of jewellery. I know in this production. Do you miss out on that, or do you get some of that as well?
I do miss out on the jewellery, big time actually. I get hats and lots of and a bag and various other things to carry, which you'll see.
This, Robert, was written by Mozart at high speed. I mean, I think he sort of took 6 months from beginning to end, but wrote a huge number of other pieces during that time. But the famous story of the overture being written the night before or the morning of the dress rehearsal.
Yes,
I'm not quite sure which.
Ink still wet on the copious parts of the overture.
It doesn't have that feeling, does it? I mean, it feels like something...
Well, it does in a way, actually. I feel there's... it's inexorable, this piece. You start it at the beginning, and you simply have to know where you're heading. And because various productions, of course, treat the different time zones, sometimes as months, sometimes as days, but this is definitely a day, a bad day in the life of Don Giovanni. And you can feel that actually Mozart was at fever pitch when he wrote this piece, and particularly by the time you get to the finale, as a conductor, I think, and certainly as Don Giovanni, you have to live this moment. And it should be terrifying for you conducting it as well as singing it, I think, Nick. Would you agree?
It's an extraordinary piece of music, that ending.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I don't know what happens, the spell comes down. I think it's haunted, actually, that section. And definitely the overture as well. There's something very diabolical about it.
He wrote this piece under the shadow of his father's death. And, of course, the piece starts with the death of Anna's father. So I think, he was really channeling something very, very personal. There's a lot of his own grief, I think.
Well, you open on Monday night of next week at Holland Park for 9 performances. We're going to finish by hearing that extraordinary music of the finale, tying together all of the loose ends. Elvira off to the convent, Zelina and Mazzetto off to dinner, Leporelli looking for a new master. This is the orchestra of the Royal Opera House, Covent Garden, with Sir Colin Davis conducting. Nicholas, Laura, Thomas, Anna, Leslie Ann, Stephen and Robert, thank you all very much indeed for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.